In this video, we're going to take a look back at the 1930s and explore some of the most famous perfumes worn by the stars of old Hollywood. Hello lovelies, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura and today we're going to be talking about old Hollywood perfumes. And the 1930s is one of my favorite decades for perfumes. And what you may not know is that these scents were actually worn by old Hollywood movie stars during the 1930s. Thank you Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service with a mission to empower each and every person to express themselves through scent. And Scentbird is your fragrance destination, a single place to discover, explore, and learn about and experience scents just for you. Scentbird is a way to discover, shop, and purchase and even experience fragrances. Scentbird is a place to begin or deepen your relationship with fragrances. And Scentbird acts as a place to express your individuality and gives each and every person the power to express themselves through fragrance. Scentbird lets you choose a new designer fragrance to try every month for just $17. Every month you get to pick what you want to receive, so there are no surprises. They have perfumes and colognes and a lot of unisex options. With each fragrance, you'll get a 30-day supply, so you can try out the fragrances before committing to a full-size bottle that costs over $150 to sometimes $300 or even $500. Scentbird carries brands like Prada, Gucci, Versace, as well as indie labels like Skylar and Confessions of Rebel. As you know, I'm a huge perfume junkie. I have so many perfumes. I've done multiple perfume videos about history of vintage perfumes, and I love trying new perfumes. And that's why I like Scentbird, because if you love perfume and just want to try multiple different perfumes, Scentbird is for you. Because I find sometimes I don't actually want the big bottle. I actually want a smaller one so I can try them, and then I don't feel guilty about not using it in time and the perfume going off. So if you want to try Scentbird, make sure to use the promo code LJA55, and this will be linked in the description box, and it's just a little over $7 for your first month. It would make a great Christmas gift. It's available in the USA and Canada. And now I'm going to tell you which Scentbird fragrances I received this month, and I'm really excited about all of them, and they smell really good. And I chose 3 fragrances. One of them is one of my perfume memories, and I chose this one because Clinique Happy was one of my first perfumes that I got in high school, so I have a lot of nostalgic with this one, and I love Clinique Happy Heart, and they give you these little cute cards explaining the perfume. And the next one I got is Michael Germain Paris, and this one is beautiful. It's Michael Gold Bergamot and Velvetier Royal. And the last perfume I chose is Nanette Lepore, and this one again has very floral and bergamot notes with musk, vanilla, bergamot, jasmine, and red fruit. And again, I love how they put the picture of the full-size bottle on the card with the description, and I feel like they're pretty substantial, the perfume bottles, and I also think they're perfect for traveling if you want something, or to keep on your purse because it has the cute little sachet that it comes with. And thank you Scentbird for sponsoring this video, and check out the links below. I also linked all of the perfumes. Alright, let's jump right back into the video. The 1930s were a time of great upheaval in America. The stock market crash of 1929 plunged the country into an economic depression, and millions of Americans lost their jobs. Many families were forced to move into Hoovervilles, makeshift communities named after President Herbert Hoover, who was blamed for the country's woes. Life was a struggle for most Americans during the 1930s, but they persevered. In 1935, President Franklin Roosevelt created the Works Progress Administration, which put millions of Americans to work on public projects. The 1930s also saw the rise of iconic American figures like aviator Amelia Earhart and gangster Al Capone. Despite the challenges, the 1930s were a defining decade for America. America in the 1930s was a time of great great change. The economy was struggling and many people were out of work. Yet despite the challenges, the 1930s were also a time of great creativity and innovation. In the world of pop culture, this was especially evident. Jazz music was sweeping the nation and new styles of dance were being created. Hollywood was producing some of its most iconic films, and fashion was becoming more daring and glamorous. In many ways, the 1930s were a truly defining period in American history. Pop culture played a big role in shaping the nation during this time, and its influence can still be seen today. Old Hollywood in the 1930s America was a time that was very interesting and of great change. The advent of sound technology revolutionized the film industry, and a new generation of directors, writers, and actors emerged. Films became more realistic and sophisticated, and the studios began to exert greater control over their productions. This control often stifled creativity, but it also resulted in some of the most iconic and enduring films ever made. Many of the classic Hollywood stars got their start in the 1930s, including Humphrey Bogart, Cary Grant, Bette Davis, and Clark Gable, to name a few. The 1930s were also a time of great upheaval in America as the country struggled to cope with the Great Depression. Despite these challenges, old Hollywood in the 1930s remains one of the most fascinating and influential periods in American history. Old Hollywood in the 1930s was a magical time for film. It was the beginning of the golden age of cinema, and some of the most iconic films were released during this era. It was also a time when female stars shone brightly on the silver screen. Some of the most famous old Hollywood female stars from the 1930s include Greta Garbo, Joan Crawford, and Bette Davis. These women were not only incredible actresses, but they also had a tremendous impact on fashion and beauty trends of the time. They exuded confidence and glamour, and their performances continue to captivate audiences today. If you're a fan of old Hollywood, then be sure to check out some of these classic films starring these famous female stars. Belts may have been tightened during the start of the 1930s, but perfume was a luxury that many women clung to. The 1929 Wall Street stock market crash set off the US Great Depression, but perhaps as a counterbalance to that gloom and doom, the fragrances that were being introduced at the time seemed to offer hope, positivity, and thoughts of love. Jean Pateau's very romantic fragrance Joy was marketed to Americans who couldn't afford the couture's opulent gowns and daywear, but could perhaps indulge themselves by dabbing a drop or two of this jasmine perfume. In 1932, the release of the perfume Je Reviens, which is another Parisian perfume by the designer Worth, solidified the ongoing relationship between fashion and scent. Then perhaps the most seductive perfume ever produced appeared, and this was a scent that had patchouli, carnation, and vanilla, and it was very smoldering and dark. Dana's Taboo truly broke taboos when it came to perfume. With the release of Taboo in 1933, the Spanish fragrance business quickly followed it up with 20 carats, the closest thing many people could get to the diamond during the hard times financially. By this time, there was a very clear distinction between fragrances for men and women. Notable men's fragrances in the 30s include Caron pour un homme, which was released in 1934, and Old Spice, the first spicy ombre scent for males, which was released in 1938. Elsa Schiaparelli, a quirky designer, brought color back to a rather drab time in perfumery. Elsa Schiaparelli gave fashion a surrealist spin with shoe-shaped hats, lobster dresses, insect necklaces, lavishly embroidered jackets, and an actual color Shocking Pink, which she used as the name of her first signature scent. Shocking Pink is a hotter and more vibrant pink than fashion had seen up to that point. From her autobiography Shocking Life, she says, "I saw the color flash before my eyes, a color of China and Peru, but not of the West. A striking color that is pure and unadulterated, bright, impossible, impudent, becoming a life-giving like all the light birds and the fish in the world combined. Shocking's bottle was modeled after Mae West's curve, and images by Schiaparelli's surrealist colleagues Salvador Dali and Marcel Vertes were used in the advertising. At the time Shocking was released, Europe was going through a difficult period marked by the growth of fascism, worsening economic conditions, and political unrest that, as the decade came to a close, would alter not just people's lives but also the entire shape of the globe. Although Shocking was exploding with sparkling Adelaides, it also included a seductive blend of jasmine, roses, and ylang-ylang at its core, as well as raunchy dollops of civet, sandalwood, and incense. This provided a brief respite, just like Schiaparelli's clothing did. Simply a femme fatale. The 1930s also saw the debut of Jacques Guerlain's Vol de Nuit, Night Flight. This was a tribute to the French pilots of the sky who helped establish the first international mail delivery service. After World War I, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who served as the lead pilot, published the novel Night Flight, which served as Guerlain's inspiration and gave the scent its name. The French Air Force's emblem was on the packaging. This fragrance has a citrus base with musk and cinnamon undertones, lemon, orange, orange flower, mandarin, sandalwood, vanilla, orris, and adelaides were also present in the original fragrance. Vol de Nuit included undertones of leather and wood, which gave it a slightly macho vibe. Beeswax and balsam scents were also conjured, and when mixed with the citrus undertones, they created a distinct Baroque impression. Although it is lighter than the original, but still has the same structure as the original scent, this brand of cologne is still in production. In comparison to the more potent original scent, it is lighter on the nose. And the first star of the 1930s that we'll be talking about is Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo was one of the most famous movie stars of the 30s. Born in Sweden, she began her career as a model and stage actress before moving to Hollywood in 1925. Her first film role was in The Torrent, but it was her performance in Flesh and the Devil that made her a star. Over the next decade, she appeared in a string of hit films including Anna Christie, Mata Hari, and Grand Hotel. Garbo was known for her beauty and charisma on screen, and her performances won her international fame. In 1935, she was named one of the 10 most popular actresses in America, and she was one of the highest paid stars in Hollywood. However, Garbo's career came to an abrupt end in 1941 when she retired from acting at the age of 35. She never returned to the screen, but her legacy as one of Hollywood's most legendary actresses remains. And one of her favorite perfumes was Pierre Balmain Vent Vert, and this perfume was released in 1947 and quickly became a classic. This fragrance was Pierre's first, and it remains one of the most iconic creations. Vent Vert is a fresh, floral scent with green notes that evoke the first days of spring. Pierre Balmain was inspired by the green landscapes of France, and he wanted to capture the essence of springtime in a bottle. The name Vent Vert means green wind in French, and the fragrance is as light and refreshing as a gentle breeze. The bottle is just as iconic as the scent itself, with a sleek Art Deco design that has been copied many times over. Pierre Balmain Vent Vert is a timeless classic that continues to captivate noses all over the world. And another perfume that she liked was another Balmain perfume, and this one is Ivory. And this one is a classic perfume with a long and storied history. First launched in 1970, the scent was created by Pierre Balmain himself, a true visionary. Pierre Balmain was one of the first designers to embrace the concept of luxury ready-to-wear. His clothing was sleek, modern, and exquisite, and his fragrances followed suit. This perfume is a delicate floral perfume with top notes of neroli and jasmine, and its heart lies a romantic blend of tuberose and lily of the valley, while sandalwood and musk give the scent a warm, sensual base. And this one is now considered a timeless classic, so Garbo did Vent Vert in her early career, and then later in life she liked the 1970s version of the Balmain perfume. And Pierre Balmain was one of the most influential fashion designers of the 20th century. Born in 1914 in France, he rose to prominence in the 1930s as a courtier for some of the most famous names in Hollywood. His signature style was elegant and glamorous, and he quickly became known for his exquisite craftsmanship. In 1945, he launched his own fashion house, and over the next few decades, he continued to dress some of the most beautiful women in the world. His work was timeless and timelessly chic, and he remained at the forefront of fashion until his untimely death in 1982. Pierre was a true visionary, and his legacy continues to inspire designers all over the world. And next we have Carole Lombard. Carole was one of the most popular actresses of the 30s. Born in 1908, she began her career in silent films and achieved great success with her first talkie, Majority Rule, in 1929. She went on to star in a string of hits including 20th Century in 1934, My Man Godfrey 1936, and Nothing Sacred 1937. Lombard was known for her comedic timing and effervescent personality, and she was one of the first few stars who could make a successful transition from silent films to talkies. In January 1942, Lombard was killed in a plane crash while returning from a war bond tour. Her death was a devastating blow to the Hollywood community, and her vacancy on the top 10 box office list was proof of her immense popularity. Carole was one of the brightest stars of the Hollywood's golden era, and her untimely death helped to end that era. You might find it interesting to know that Carole Lombard was a perfumista because she was quoted in Michelle Morgan's book Carole Lombard 20th Century Star. I'm a huge perfume fan. I don't buy the products to put in the bottles and decorate my vanity with. I use each bottle that I open till I become tired of it. I switch perfumes about once a week on average, going back to previous favorites or exploring new options. So it does sound like that she was a perfume connoisseur. Carole wore Intoxication by d'Orsay, an animalic flower perfume released in 1939. She allegedly wore Casma, a recently introduced fragrance according to Caswell Macy, and Casma was released in 1922 by the innovative American cosmetics company Caswell Macy, which dates back to colonial times. It was again reintroduced momentarily in 2001 and then put on hold and brought back in 2010. Lombard is rumored to have made it her go-to perfume during the 1920s when it was popular among flappers. And Caswell Macy is a historic brand with a rich heritage dating back to 1752. Caswell Macy was founded by William Caswell, who immigrated from England to America in search for a better life. Caswell opened a small apothecary shop in Newport, Rhode Island, where he quickly gained a reputation for the quality of his products. In 1770, Caswell partnered with Samuel Massey, and the business soon began to flourish. The Masseys expanded their operations, opening shops in Boston and New York City. By the early 1800s, Caswell Macy was one of the most successful apothecaries in the country. Today, the company continues to produce high-quality soaps, lotions, and perfumes using traditional methods. Caswell Macy is truly a brand with a long and storied history. Jean Harlow was one of the most iconic actresses of the 30s. Born Marlene Harlow Carpenter in 1911, Jean began her career in Hollywood at the age of 18. She quickly rose to fame with a performance in the film Hell's Angel, released in 1930. Jean continued to star in a string of successful films through the decade, including Red Dust, 1932, Dinner at 8, 1933, and Bombshell, 1933. She became known for her sultry persona and platinum blonde hair, which earned her the nickname the Blonde Bombshell. Jean was one of the highest paid actresses of her time and was one of the most popular celebrities in America. Tragically, Jean died of kidney failure at the age of 26. Her death brought an end to one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Jean Harlow left behind a legacy that has endured for over 90 years. She remains one of the most popular and iconic actresses of all time. And she loved a Guerlain perfume, Mistuco, which is a classic perfume with a rich history. The perfume was created in 1919 by Jacques Guerlain, and it was inspired by the heroine of a popular novel. Mistuco is a delicate and sophisticated fragrance with notes of peach, rose, and jasmine. The Mistuco bottle is also iconic with its Art Nouveau design and gold stopper. Over the years, Mistuco has been reformulated by various perfumers, but it remains true to its origins. Today, this perfume is one of Guerlain's best-selling perfumes and continues to captivate those who wear it. And Guerlain is one of the oldest perfume houses in the world. It was founded in France in 1828 by Pierre-François Guerlain, and Guerlain was the first perfumer to use a blend of natural and synthetic ingredients, and his unique creations quickly gained popularity among the fashionable elites of Paris. Guerlain continued to innovate throughout the 19th century, creating new scent families and introducing groundbreaking packaging designs. Today, Guerlain is still renowned for its luxurious fragrances and beautiful bottles. And though much has changed since Guerlain was first founded, the company remains true to its founder's vision of creating unparalleled scents for discerning men and women. And next we have Marlene Dietrich. Marlene was one of the most glamorous and iconic actresses of the 30s. She was born in Berlin in 1901, and she started her career as a cabaret singer. She quickly rose to stardom in Germany thanks to her seductive voice and striking looks. In 1930, she made her Hollywood debut in the film Morocco. She went on to star in a string of successful films, including Shanghai Express and Desire. Dietrich was known for her sultry performances and for pushing the boundaries of on-screen sexuality. She became a huge box office draw, and her popularity only increased when she began performing patriotic songs during World War II. Dietrich continued to make movies throughout the 1940s and 50s, but her later years were marred by personal tragedies. She died in 1992 at the age of 90, and Marlene Dietrich was a legendary figure of the 1930s, and her legacy continues to intrigue and fascinate audiences today. And she loved Guerlain Val de Nuit, and this is a timeless fragrance that was first introduced in the 30s. And by this time, Guerlain was also a very well-established perfume house, and this scent quickly became one of the most popular and iconic fragrances of the 30s. And as mentioned previously, this one was inspired by a novel, and the perfume has the theme of adventure and danger in it, which is the whole starting point of the fragrance. And the perfume opens up with top notes of bergamot and orange blossom, then gives way to a heart of jasmine and ylang ylang and neroli. The scent then dries down to a warm and sensual base of amber, sandalwood, and vanilla. And this is a very unique fragrance, perfect for anyone who wants to add a touch of elegance and mystery to their collection. And she also loved Fracas by Robert Piguet. And this is a timeless fragrance with a rich and dramatic history, created in 1947 by the legendary perfumer Robert Piguet. Fracas is a bold and sensual fragrance that captures the essence of femininity. The scent opens with a beautiful bouquet of white flowers, including jasmine, tuberose, and lily of the valley. At the heart of the fragrance is a passionate blend of orange blossom and gardenia, followed by a sensual base of musk, amber, and vanilla. Fracas is an audacious and unforgettable fragrance that continues to captivate women all over the world. And I have this one, it's so good. Robert Piguet was one of the most influential fashion designers of the 20th century. Born in Switzerland in 1887, Robert began his career as a millionaire in Paris. He quickly became known for his innovative and avant-garde designs, and in 1914 he opened his own fashion house. success. His early clients included some of the most famous names in the fashion world, including Givenchy and Paul Poiret. However, it was his work with Christian Dior that made him famous. His dramatic and feminine designs had a profound impact on fashion, and he remained one of the industry's leading talents until his death in 1953. Today, his legacy lives on in the work of many leading fashion houses, including Dior, Givenchy, and YSL. And the next movie star in the 1930s we have is Mae West. Mae West is one of the most controversial entertainers of the 30s. A vaudeville performer turned movie star, she was known for her saucy wit and risque behavior. Mae didn't care what people thought of her, and she pushed the boundaries of acceptability with her bawdy humor and provocative dress. She quickly became a household name, and her films were some of the biggest box office hits of the 1930s. However, Mae's success came at a price. She was repeatedly censored by censors and religious groups, and she was even jailed for obscenity. But Mae refused to be silenced, and she continued to speak her mind and flout convention. She may have been ahead of her time, but Mae West was a true original who helped to redefine what it meant to be a celebrity. And she loved the perfume Rochas Femme, and this was created in 1944 by the House of Rochas, and this is a timeless classic perfume. The fragrance is based on a floral bouquet of rose, jasmine, and lily of the valley with a touch of spicy cinnamon. It is the perfect balance of feminine and sensual. Femme Rochas has been a favorite of women for over 70 years. Today the perfume is very popular still, and it definitely has a unique charm to it. Whether you're looking for an everyday scent or a special occasion fragrance, Femme Rochas is sure to make an impression. And the House of Rochas was founded in 1925 by French designer Marcel Rochas. He was one of the first designers to use fur in his designs, and he quickly gained a reputation for creating opulent and feminine clothing. In the 1930s, Rochas expanded his business into perfume, and the House of Rochas became known for its luxurious fragrances. Through the years, the House of Rochas has continued to produce exquisite clothing and perfume, dressing some of the most famous women in the world. Today, House of Rochas is still renowned for its timeless elegance and feminine designs. And she also loved the Schiaparelli Shocking perfume, which ironically was designed after her torso. And this one was introduced, as previously stated, in the 1930s by Elsa Schiaparelli, who was a surrealist and known fashion designer. And this one was inspired by her love of flowers, and it was meant to be daring and elegant. And this scent actually became very popular in Hollywood with stars and socialites. And Schiaparelli's Shocking perfume was also famous for its unique bottle, which was designed to resemble a woman's torso, and that torso is Mae West. And this perfume is not available anymore, but you can get vintage ones online. I actually have one. And Elsa Schiaparelli is definitely one of the most influential fashion designers of the 20th century. I remember learning about her in fashion school, and she was born in Rome in 1890. She initially pursued a career in the arts, studying at the Accademia delle Crusca and mingling with the city's bohemian set. However, she soon got tired of the conventions of Italian society and moved to Paris, where she quickly established herself as a leading figure in the avant-garde community. It was here that she met Salvador Dali, a fellow member of the Surrealist movement, with whom she would later collaborate on a number of fashion collections. Schiaparelli's designs were often inspired by the Surrealist principles, incorporating unexpected elements and provoking strong emotions. Her playful approach to fashion was a welcome relief from the serious atmosphere of the times, and her unique style won her a loyal following among both celebrities and everyday women. Though her career was relatively short-lived, she retired from fashion in 1954. Schiaparelli left an incredible mark on the world of fashion. And next we have Bette Davis. Bette Davis was one of the most celebrated actresses of her generation, and her career spanned several decades. Born in 1908, she got her start in the entertainment industry in the 1920s, appearing in a number of Broadway productions. However, it was in Hollywood that she really made a name for herself, appearing in several successful films in the 1930s. These included Of Human Bondage, The Letter, both of which earned her Academy Award nominations. Bette Davis was known for her dramatic performances, and she continued to appear in popular films throughout the 40s and 50s. She passed away in 1989, but her legacy as one of the greatest actresses of all time lives on. And she loved the perfume Givenchy Lady, and this perfume definitely has a long and dramatic history. Givenchy was founded in 1952 by Herbert de Givenchy, and the first Givenchy Lady perfume was launched in 1958. Givenchy Lady is a floral Adelaide fragrance, and it's considered to be one of the most classic fragrances of the 20th century. Givenchy's first fragrance, L'air de Tea, which was created for Audrey Hepburn in 1957, is the first of the series, and just 1 year later, Givenchy released a second fragrance, Lady, as an exclusive creation for the Givenchy Couture collection. Dedicated to Givenchy's close friends and loyal customers, Lady embodied the elegance of a true Parisian woman. For many years, Lady could only be found at the most prestigious department stores in Paris, London, and New York. However, today, this prestigious fragrance is available for everyone to enjoy. Givenchy's commitment to quality and luxurious designs is evident in Lady, making it a truly special fragrance. And thanks to Givenchy, the world can now enjoy a little piece of Parisian elegance. And I believe this one is not available anymore, but you definitely can get vintage ones on eBay. And there's something truly magical about 1930s old Hollywood stars and their favorite perfumes. They seem to exude a certain je ne sais quoi that is utterly intoxicating. Whether it's the smoldering sensuality of Marlene Dietrich or the playful exuberance of Mae West, these ladies knew how to make an entrance, and part of their allure was undoubtedly due to the luxurious fragrances they wore. From classic florals like gardenia and tuberose to sultry orientals like opium and shalimar, these stars knew how to pick a scent that suited their personality perfectly. So if you're ever feeling lackluster, just remember that a little spritz of a perfume can go a long way in making you feel fabulous, just like those 1930s old Hollywood stars. And thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out my other perfume videos. And thank you Scentbird for sponsoring this video, and make sure to use my promo code LJA55, and everything is linked below in the description box and pinned comment. Alright, see you guys again soon. Bye!